I'm Liz Larson.
And I'm Bill McKenna.
And together, we created the Cogno Movement System. And we'd like to welcome you to the New Life Perspectives radio show,
where we're going to be sharing with you tools, tips, and ideas that are going to change your life.
Hello in UK Health Radio Land. I'm Liz Larson, and normally I'm here with our friend Bill McKenna, but he is off doing what Bill McKenna does and helping people today. So it's just me, and I am really actually excited about that today because I get to have a girl chat with somebody from where Cogno Movement is founded in San Diego. So I'm here with Marta Giri, right? Is that correct, Marta?
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. I had to make sure it wasn't Italian, but she says it's not. It's Indian. And Marta is the host of the Wellness in San Diego podcast, which is very cool, and the founder of the Locally Well. What is that? Is it a magazine, a media company? Fill us in, Marta. What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm the founder of Locally Well San Diego. It's a media company focusing on all things health and wellness here in San Diego. We love to highlight the events that are happening around town, the latest trends, what new studios are opening up, getting to know wellness practitioners, and showcasing what's happening in our sustainable and local food movement. So that's what we're all about here at Locally Well.
Well, that's super cool. And, I'm excited about this conversation because when I first met Bill, I had been to San Diego one time for the San Diego Zoo. I live in Southern Oregon. So, I didn't really know anything about San Diego. Well, when we founded the Cogno Movement Company and I started spending a lot of time in San Diego, I realized what an absolutely gorgeous place it is. And that personally, I actually really felt a lot better in San Diego while I was there. I really enjoyed the energy. Of course, the ocean is right there and the ocean breezes, and the weather is so temperate. But what I discovered very quickly is that there were a lot of people like Bill and I there, a lot of founders of a lot of modalities, a lot of focus on wellness, and it is California. So worldwide, you guys, California is a little bit different. Like Californians are into natural health stores, they're into health and wellness. And I'm shocked when I travel the world and sometimes I'll need this herb or that homeopathic and I can't find it. But in California, you can find it all. So really, San Diego is this mecca for health and wellness, transformation as well, big into transformation. That is hidden from most of the world. Most people don't know about it. But you, Marta, you knew. So tell us your story. How in the world did you get into founding a health and wellness podcast and media company?
Yeah, thanks, Liz. It's been a journey. I might say that I've been leading up to it my whole entire life. My first job was working at a metaphysical bookstore when I was 16, owned by a Native American couple called Crystals and Wolf. I'm originally from Minnesota, but I always had this wanderlust for exploring, learning more. I was interested in yoga from an early age. This was back when I had to get a VHS tape and I was reading a book and trying to do it in my small town in Minnesota. There wasn't any yoga studios. So I've just always been interested in health and wellness and that, and traveling. And that took me abroad where I actually went to undergrad in Australia and pursued my journalism degree where I got the opportunity to co-host an alternative health radio show, not unlike yourself, in Sydney. And I was running around Sydney interviewing wellness practitioners. So it really is a full circle moment. And the idea came to me during the pandemic. I had lost my job. I had been in corporate America for a long time in marketing, and I didn't know what to do next. So I just kind of returned to my roots, things that I've always been interested in, and living in San Diego after we moved here just embracing all of the wellness that surrounded me, and also the opportunity to showcase what's happening here. I couldn't believe that no one else was highlighting it yet. So I was like, well, I'll start it. I'll create something. And so I started slowly with social media and built out a website. And now we're kind of known as the go-to one-stop shop for all things wellness, whether we share at all the events that are going on around town. And as you mentioned, it really is a bit of a vortex. A lot of people come here for healing. Especially I live in the town called Encinitas, which is in North County, San Diego. So it's about 40 minutes north of the city. Everyone here talks in minutes when they're driving. It's just a little bit north, but beautiful beaches. And some people jokingly refer to it as Encinitas because it has more yoga studios per capita than anywhere else in the country. So San Diego, people joke about there's a Starbucks in every corner. In San Diego, there's a yoga studio on every corner. And so it's been such a joy getting to know these little mom and pop yoga studios, and to the big ones too. Everyone has such a commitment to leading a healthy lifestyle here. The weather, lends itself to that, but also there is just such a collective consciousness that happens here. Here in Encinitas, there's the Self-Realization Fellowship founded by Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, back in the early 1900s, who brought yoga to the West. So there is just such a rich history of wellness here. And it's just exploding every day, every minute. And it's so exciting to see the city transform through wellness.
It is really so true. So when I come to San Diego to be with Bill's, of course, in Mission Beach, and Mission Beach is gorgeous. And, there's the boardwalk on the bay side, and there's the boardwalk on the beach side. And, as soon as it's light out till after dark in the summer, there are people walking and moving and skateboarding and bike riding. And you see people that have to be in their 80s that are rollerblading. Every kind of person is outdoors moving, obviously doing something for their health and well-being. You see people, playing music. You see people creating art right on the beach. It really is so exciting and vibrant. And Bill and I, speak in vibration all the time, and the vibe is high. It's really a great place to be. It feels good. The other thing about San Diego that I love personally is how many cool food places there are. Juicing, or making fruit bowls, or everything organic. They even have amazing vegan shops there. I think down the street from Bill, there's a vegan sushi place, which is interesting, But California, I think in general, especially Southern California, has this kind of very interesting food offerings. But what I noticed in San Diego is, at least in Mission Beach, you can just walk 5 minutes. And in that 5 minutes, there are all of these beautiful, really healthy food options, which is kind of amazing. So, well, my question to you is, personally, what interests you in health and wellness? Second part of that question, is it just health and wellness for you? Or do you also have a passion for certain kinds of transformation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's more the latter. I'm definitely interested in health and wellness as a means for transformation. So I don't think we can transform if we're not balanced in our entire parts of our life, right? So if we're not eating healthy food, if we're not moving our bodies, if we're not taking time for spiritual reflection, whatever that means for you, it's kind of hard to find that balance and elevate our mind, body, spirit. So that's why I showcase all of these different facets, because what works for me might be different than what activates transformation in you. So personally, I've been involved in psychic development courses myself, working on connecting with spirit guides and working on strengthening my clairs, let's say. So, and after having some experiences with spirits, that was something that was of interest to me personally. So that is very much present here. People talk about, there's the lingo is everywhere. People talk about
Right.
downloads in just general conversation. You're going to hear this on the street. You're going to hear this in a cafe in San Diego. You're going to hear about downloads. You're going to hear about manifestation. You're going to overhear people talking about up leveling. The lingo is very much, everyday kind of commonplace. And it's just relaxing to find like-minded people in that way. So yeah, like you said, there's, food everywhere. It really is just whatever you're into, you're going to find it here.
Yeah, I feel like the consciousness conversation is really everywhere. It's very pervasive. And you find it in places that you don't expect. So, of course, you
Mm-hmm.
expect it if you go in the crystal shop. Of course, you expect it if you go into Eighth Harmony in La Jolla, but you may not expect it at your local sushi place or, at a grocery store or clothing shop. That the
Oh yeah.
idea of consciousness really is everywhere in San Diego. And I think there's also that we who are talking about this ourselves and thinking about it, we attract those people and those experiences. But I need to back up for just a second because you just whizzed by that you had experience with spirits that made you interested.
Gloss over
No,
that. Yeah.
let's not gloss that over. Tell me just a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been an empathic kid, my entire life. I wouldn't be interested in this stuff if I didn't know, seek it out and try and understand why I feel so strongly and so connected to my environment. Particularly, I'm a very observant person. I always kind of can see what's going on in the world. So, yeah, I've had experiences with energy, just really feeling clairsentient, my whole life, been very sensitive to what's happening in a room, walking into a room, reading the room, understanding. I think as a self-defense mechanism, just from childhood things, but just also one of my superpowers.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I didn't have a psychic experience until probably was about 5 years ago. I was in my kitchen, really good high vibes. I was laughing. My family was in the living room while I was moving from the sink over to the stove, and I had a wooden spoon in my hand, and I just stopped in my tracks. And I all of a sudden heard a voice, and it was someone speaking to me saying, I need you to get a message to tell Philip that I'm okay. He's at UCSD, which is a medical center here in San Diego. I need you to tell him that I'm okay. Everything's going to be fine, and everything's okay. And I just paused, and then the voice left, and I went, what the heck was that? I had no rhyme or reason to conjure up this conversation within my head. All of a sudden, I had just had this download, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, should I look up obituaries? Should I try and find? It seems like this was this gentleman's partner. And
You didn't know the person?
Okay. I had no idea no, I did not know this person.
Random.
I know. I did not know this person at all. And so it was just such a moment. And I was like, okay, that happened. So, I've always been curious about that. And yeah, so that led me to exploring psychic development work. I've always had tarot decks just around and things like that. But this was the first time that I started to really realize that maybe I had more gifts than I was paying attention to, and working on strengthening those. So with that, I do, I'm clairvoyant. The way we're trained is to get that visual message first and then move into what that means clairaudiently. So that's what I feel I'm strongest at. But working on healing, I love psychometry too. When you're feeling objects, and getting readings that way, that has been really strong for me as well. So I just love exploring gifts. We all have them. They're not gifts. They're just, I don't know, like muscles that we all need to exercise. Everybody has some kind of clair. You just don't know what yours is yet. Maybe it's smelling, maybe it's tasting, maybe it's knowing. You just know things, right? So I think just taking the time to explore that for you. And one of the phrases I love from the school that I'm working with is in time and on time. So even though you might have certain clairs or you want to pursue them, they will come to you when you're ready for them.
Yeah, I love that you said that it's like muscles because I 100% agree with you. It has always been my understanding that you're born with certain talents. It's like people who can really play the piano. You know, it's there. My brother was born knowing how to do mechanical things. At 5 years old, he would fix the box fans in our house. If they were broken, my dad would put them out to go to the trash and he would sneak out and fix them. Nobody taught them. So I believe for us, it's structural. We're built with certain abilities, talents, that when we discover them, if we train them, just like any other talent, they become bigger and stronger. But for many of us with these kinds of talents, it leads to who we become, what our passion is, what our mission is on the planet. So let's take a pause here for just a moment. We'll hear from the good folks at the UK Health Radio Network. And when we come back, let's talk about that, about your purpose. And if this moment in time led you to this purpose of really connecting people around wellness in San Diego. So UK Health, take it away.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
And we are back. We're talking with Marta Giri from Locally Well in San Diego about some strange things, a download in the kitchen from a random stranger that may or may not have led her on her path. So what part did this play in you doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, I just kind of put that away for a moment. I think it came at a busy time in my life. Like I said, I was climbing the corporate ladder and just went, okay, that happened. I don't really have the space and time to pursue that more. But it did just evoke curiosity in me about what else I could possibly do or how to channel that to help people. And it wasn't until I actually had the idea for Locally Well that came in a download too. So I woke up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., sat up straight in the bed and had the idea. And I was like, this is what I meant to do. I just know that this is it. And I had to wait for the morning, wait for my husband to wake up. And I was like, guess what? Like, and he was like, okay, like I was so excited, just so effervescent and just like couldn't get the words out fast enough. I didn't know what to call it. I just knew that this was what I was meant to do. And every day I wake up knowing that it's my purpose and it doesn't feel like work because I don't know who I'm going to meet. The biggest joy I have with meeting with all of these wellness practitioners, businesses, product-based businesses, people, is that I love hearing their stories, like that on the podcast that we host as well, hearing their stories. And also I love being a matchmaker. So I love connecting people to collaborate together. It's so important in today's world. You know, we're all in it together. And so many wellness entrepreneurs are going alone. They're trying to do it by themselves and they may not have a certain skill set. So my background is in marketing. And so I love helping coach folks on how to better reach their audiences, grow their client base list. And I'm really big into borrowing people's audiences. And combining them together. So if you have 5,000 followers and they have 5,000 followers and you do something together, it exponentially grows, right? So the more that I can help our local people find each other. And one of my favorite events that we had was a new moon mindful mixer. So I had two ladies on my podcast. One is she's a spiritual medium and spiritual life worker. But she also works with succulents. Succulents are the cactuses and, very San Diego, right? And what she does is she puts them in crystals and they grow in crystals. You actually don't have to have a pot or soil because you can just put the water directly and they get the minerals they need. And succulents don't need much water anyway. So you can plant them directly in a crystal, which is way cool for a pot, right? So
What? I've never heard of this. Wait. We have to hear this. So is there any particular kind of crystal?
I'm not sure. She's the expert, not me, but I mean, I think it's like the traditional like quartzes
Quartz
and
and stuff.
those big kind of, I think those substantial crystals. I don't think it's just any crystal.
Gosh, how fantastic.
So yeah, she drills into them, and then you just put a succulent and then the magic happens. And so she's very in tune with this. Plants speak to her energetically as well. So she gets messages from plants, which is awesome. So she's just way cool. And then there's another lady I had in the podcast, and she's the beverage botanist, and she makes botanically infused mocktails or cocktails from local plants. So I was like, let's do something together. You're the plant magic lady. You're the plant magic lady. And so we just had this activation event where we did a circle. It was on the new moon in Taurus, and it was just perfect. So we got the download of what the astrological forecast was, brought in the good bevies, and then had our people meet each other, like-minded folks. And it was just such a beautiful evening. So that's an example of something you could do in your area, is just finding another practitioner to put something on, and expanding your audience that way by maximizing your zones of genius.
That is absolutely fantastic. And there's something you said about like spiritually minded practitioners or heart-based, heart-centered entrepreneurship is tough. We work with people all the time who have these amazing hearts, amazing ideas, amazing gifts to serve people with, but what they don't have is that marketing part, or they feel so stuck in the selling part. And so we find that if we can clear that part in their nervous system, that driver, it opens them to feel more comfortable. But having someone who has the ability to make those connections, like you, somebody who has the understanding of the modalities and the way that those of us like this are, understanding us and yourself, and then the marketing, and then the business, that is essential. It's what's needed, because it can be very difficult to get a message out there if you don't have any of those skills. So you seem perfectly suited. And obviously the reason you got that big download, right?
Yeah, it's been a joy. And I have people asking me for help quite often. They want help with their socials. They want to know who to partner with to get things done. And it's actually leading to me. I'm going to be launching a marketing agency in the fall. So to better support, our entrepreneurs here in San Diego and beyond. I can't stress enough the importance of community marketing in your area. Local SEO is very important. That's search engine optimization. So making sure you have your Google My Business, making sure you have the right keywords, it's called. So when you think of like energy healing or Reiki, right? If that's your field, you want to make sure those words are everywhere in your website. So local SEO plays a big role too, as well as just getting out there and doing events and partnering with the right folks, as well as referral marketing. If you have clients, that should be your number one game, is word of mouth marketing. So there's lots of tips out there for referral marketing, but those are some helpful places to start getting more clients in the door.
Yeah, that's a hard one for some people, for a lot of people in this. It's an industry. It is a business. People want to be able to serve in the best way possible. So they don't want to be working a 9 to 5 and then doing their healing job on the side. So being able to get that out to the world is absolutely essential. Really. And so I would encourage anyone who's hearing our voices to reach out and find someone like Marta who has that ability, who understands healing and wellness and spirituality and consciousness and downloads and gurus and marketing at the same time. Not to try to do it on your own, because you can really, really struggle a long time, and it's not necessary. There are people like you that really have that ability and are of service as well. So that's incredible. So it's interesting. My daughter and I think this is how she found you, Leah, by the way, you may not know she's my daughter, but we were in San Diego, we had a free day, and we love crystal shops. And we thought, it'd be a great way to introduce ourselves locally, and, give people some flyers, but also just go to the cool crystal shops. And we had a hard time finding them. And I think that's how she found you, because we didn't have a roadmap. We were also thinking most of our big events are in San Diego because it's a place for people to come. And we wanted to give our guests who attend our events a list of the coolest shops in San Diego to go to. And we had a hard time finding them. But that's exactly what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a whole article. Leah mentioned that she found the article. It's like the best crystal shops in San Diego. And really, it's all the crystal shops in San Diego.
Yeah.
Everyone's the best one. So I have a whole list and I separated out by geographical areas to where they are as well. So yeah, what I think, Liz, what you're tapping into there that I think folks need to remember is putting yourself in your client's shoes. So where are my people, right? If I serve busy moms, should I be going to a farmer's market and setting up a stall? No, they don't have time to talk to you. Maybe they're out there getting their groceries, but they're with their family. They're getting their things. They're moving on about their day. But where would they be? How can I serve them better? So thinking about, it's something called personas, just to put a name to it, a marketing term to it, but like, who is your ideal client? What are they doing? What are their pain points? How can you meet them where they are? So maybe it needs to be virtual. Maybe you need to do free webinars so that a busy mom can join and it's only 15 minutes or it's only a half hour and it's recorded and you give them the replay afterwards. So thinking about ways where you can reach your audience where they're at. And you were just doing that. You're like, okay, my people go to crystal shops. That's where they are. So I'm going to go door to door. And it doesn't have to be door to door, but it's a wise endeavor that you did.
Well, we wanted the
thought about where they would be
too.
Yeah. You're like, I just want to shop, but also,
yeah, we wanted the experience, and we love talking to people. But when I come to San Diego and Leah, we are working, like we're in it. So there's rarely a free day, and we just found that part it was lacking until she found you. So we're so happy, and twofold. We want to be able to share that with all the people who come to San Diego. We have people who come from all over the world to these events, and they want to experience what there is to have in San Diego. And these are the things they're interested in too. All the things that go along with these kind of amazing shops. What I will say about San Diego crystal shops is they are very, very cool. And there's everything there, every kind of shop you could imagine in combination with other things. So one time, this is what Lee and I do when we travel. If we have a really long layover, we'll rent a car and we'll go on a crystal shop excursion. So one time we had 12 hours in Denver, and this is what we did. We traveled all over town and went to all the cool crystal shops, and we got to see a whole lot of Denver. It was awesome. And San Diego's kind of like that too. There's not just one place. Every little burg has a beautiful crystal shop, don't they?
Yeah, it is all over the place. And there's so much to do here that you could really make your own like DIY wellness retreat. So you can do things like an affordable way to do that is like using ClassPass. You can drop into any class or using the MindBody app if you're familiar with that. So you can drop into any local yoga studios. A lot of them will have a free class, intro class anyway. So that's a free tip. Other fun things are resort pass. So what that is a fee. Well, you just pay a set fee and you get a day pass to like the pool and spa area. And so you can have a little mini, even if you're working, you can have a little mini vacation by the poolside in San Diego too. And a lot of yoga studios are a lot of private individuals that will set up private classes for you. So they'll hold a private class for you at the beach. So if you have a bachelorette party or a reunion or whatever, they'll come even to your Airbnb if you have a big enough backyard. and they'll do a class for you. So there's a lot of ways to kind of curate and create your own wellness experience in San Diego too. And it doesn't have to be just yoga. There's sound bath, so much sound healing. Oh my gosh, everyone and their mom is a sound healer in San Diego. It's everywhere. Breath work is super popular. Cold plunging. There are at least like 2 to 3 companies that started like mobile cold plunge units that you just like blow up, like, like a kiddie pool, but then you put in ice and make an ice bath in. So breath work and cold plunge is really popular. Obviously a lot of the surfers cold plunge every day because the Pacific Ocean is freezing. But the breath work, the Wim Hof kind of foundation of breath work is really, really big here. Especially that's kind of the gateway in for the men into the wellness space is that they do the breath work and then cold plunge. So, from kayaking to surfing lessons to, you can go hang gliding at the glider port in Torrey Pines. Hiking is huge here, big hiking scene, very dog friendly too. So if you have a little pupper, there's even, little wellness CBD places. CBD is huge here too. So there's so much stuff going on. There really is something for everyone.
And so can everybody just go online and actually find you and find some of these things through you? How do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Locallywell.com is a great place to start, or following us on Instagram at locallywell. We're always, every week, I post a roundup of the events that are going on around town, and also guides. We have guides to women's circles. I'm writing one on men's circles right now. Mom groups, new fitness studios that are opening up, vegan restaurants. We have a guide to vegan bakeries in San Diego. So crystals. Someone asked me about holistic facials where they actually use crystals within the facial itself. I know, right? I haven't done that yet. And I'm always game to try new things. Like I tried there's a studio dedicated just to cold plunging and breath work up in Carlsbad. That's all that they do. They do yoga too, but they have the cold plunge bath. So I love trying new things too. I also have that wanderlust in me. So I feel like I don't need to leave San Diego because I'm always on a staycation trying out everything. So yeah, follow us on Locallywell or locallywell.com to see what's trending in San Diego.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, this conversation is so much fun. And we need to hear from the good folks at the UK Health Radio Network one more time. So UK Health, take it away.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
And we're back. We're having the most amazing conversation about all the cool stuff there is to do in San Diego with Marta Giri from locallywell.com and the Wellness in San Diego podcast as well. This is a cool idea. The staycation in your own town with all the cool wellness stuff, we have our big events. Our next big event is Cogno Conscious in San Diego. It's at the near the water in San Diego, actually, at the marina. And we will have people who come, that one partner is coming to the event and the other partner is maybe wanting to play golf, And so a couple that comes from England all the time, they said, on our day off, he wants to go play golf, but I want to go experience, the woo-woo of San Diego, right? So I think this makes it a perfect thing to do. But even if you aren't coming to San Diego in your own town, what would it take to create a wellness staycation just by finding out the cool stuff that's in your area? I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think I actually just had one this week. I went up to northern part of San Diego called Oceanside, and I stayed at a hotel there. I attended a breathwork and shamanic sound journey healing, and the hotel itself had a rooftop bar. They also had free coffee in the morning and rooftop yoga. So it was built in. So some of those places are built in, but I just thinking about what wellness means to you. Maybe it's just a quiet retreat day where you go do not disturb all day. There is actually a mission. San Diego and all of California is known for its missions. There's a mission up in Oceanside, again, in northern part of San Diego, where you can actually reserve a room for a day and kind of take a vow of silence and just meditate, read, and they feed you, and it's at no cost. They just want you to come and experience the mission. I know, it's like a quiet retreat day or something. I don't remember what it's called. I haven't done it yet, but it's on my list. So you can just take respite. And so what does that look like for you to rest and restore? Maybe it's a massage, maybe it's some kind of self-care, or maybe it's actually community care. Maybe you're volunteering. Maybe you're giving back to your community. You're doing, we have beach cleanups here a lot where people are helping out the local community. So maybe you're taking time to open your heart and connect with others in a way. Maybe you're doing something with kids, and that lights you up. So I think we have these traditional ideas of what wellness is, that it's always like a spa and like you have to get a manicure, but that might not be what you need. Like, what do you really need in your heart? Is it connection? Is it rest? Is it joy? Maybe it's like you just put on music and you dance for an hour, and that's your mini activation for wellness. So I just thinking about checking in with yourself, and maybe not being so rigid about it. Maybe it's a very spontaneous day where you just follow your energy flow and be like, what do you want to eat today? And body says, I really want a really delicious salad, fresh salad. Now that we're moving into summertime, maybe it wants something more heavy. Maybe it needs something nourishing, right? Like a broth or soup or something like that. So just checking in with yourself. And then, of course, the world is expanding. So there's so many new modalities you could try, from energy healing, meditation, movement, good food. Yeah, that's my tips.
Yeah, that's an amazing set of tips. Going to the monastery is actually a cool thing to do. I did it here in Oregon once. I'm not Catholic, and the group of women that I went with are also not Catholic, but there's a Catholic retreat that many of them will open their doors. If there's nothing going on there, you can come for the day, maybe give a donation, maybe not. And this one is in the mountains here in Southern Oregon. We went for the day. There was a beautiful labyrinth there. They also have in the woods a pathway. It's called the Stages of the Cross, I think. But we just sat in this beautiful location and meditated. And it was one of the most transformative days of my entire life. Completely unexpected. But the solitude there, and I think, no matter what religion you are, when you go to a place where people have prayed, have raised their vibration, have been in that place of seeking peace or finding peace or opening their heart, that remains in the places. And so a lot of places like Lourdes and, my family's from Sicily, places like that are for thousands of years, places that people came for that reason. The energy there can be really, really juicy, really interesting. So that's one, strangely, I would recommend that people do is, visit a monastery, have that quiet day, see what energies are there for you. The other one in San Diego that, we would be remiss if we don't add in is just walking on the beach, putting your feet in the sand. Oh my gosh, go there at sunrise or sunset, just that experience of having your feet in that salt water and in the sand. It's so grounding and so nourishing. Even just breathing that salt water into your lungs is fantastic for the body. It might not be the best for your hair if you're like me and humidity is an issue, but other than that, it's so amazing and restorative. So I love all these ideas for people to come and just have an amazing experience, whatever serves them well. Even just a walking tour of the places that have this amazing fresh food for a day would be
Yeah.
fantastic. So, Marta, what has been, this is a big question here, the most transformative thing you've ever done in your life? Like, is there a singular thing, a trip you went on, a place you visited?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a mom. So becoming a mother is very transformative in
That's
your
true.
life experience each and every day. But I would honestly say this work has been, like I said, I'm connecting with my purpose here. And it's been, they always say, like, if you want personal development, become an entrepreneur. Because
Yeah,
every day
yes.
you're like, this is amazing. And then later you're like, oh my God, it's failing. Oh my God, yay. So you're like going this waves of emotion every day. And just to keep going and keep persisting has been a really transformative experience for me. And personally, out of all the modalities that I've done, I don't think there's one in particular that was just, eye-opening, but I am really a big fan of Kundalini activation process. I have done that about 5 times now, and I've done Reiki. I've done a lot of other energy healing work, but that was the one that I was like, oh, wow. Okay, that shifted things quite a bit. So that's the one I've tried recently that has been really eye-opening for me.
I think too, if you're on this journey, and many of the people who are hearing our voices are, you and I both since birth, other people, it's more recent, and everything you do builds on the next thing, you know. I've even been through some stuff that wasn't great at all, which also taught me some amazing things. Once my friend and I went to a place in Washington, famous, but I won't say what it was, and it was not a great experience. The energy was terrible. It was very weird, but that also taught us something as well. It was a really informative and important part of our journey. And I think paying attention to where you're called to go, just like you wake up in the night and here's this weird idea, right? That happened to me with a book one time. The whole thing downloaded into my head, and I had to write it down right then. And by that morning, there was a full outline and, of that kind of thing. So you want to listen to your guidance, where you're guided to go. And sometimes just go and see what's there for you. My friend and I live close to Mount Shasta, not far. And for those of you who know about Mount Shasta, it's one of the wildest energies on the planet. It's amazing and finicky as well, fickle. But my friend said, oh, my dream's to go to Mount Shasta. I'm like, why? Like, the town's not that great. So I'd met her at an event in Phoenix. She lives in Toronto, Canada. So I said, well, come on out. We'll go. I'll take you. I'm telling you, I didn't know what I was in for. It was the wildest 4 days of my life and massively transformational. And one of those big steps, I think sometimes we take little steps on our journey, and then sometimes we skip 4 steps and jump. For me, that was one of those, but it was super random, how I ended up there. Since then, because it's so close, I go all the time now. And every time it's a major or minor step in my own evolution. So I think it's important just to show up where you're called and see what happens next. So what's next for you, Marta? What else are you working on? It sounds like you're a powerhouse of things. What's next?
Yeah. So, launched Locally Well 2 years ago, and it really is expanding right now. So I'm actually hiring some folks to help me out because like you said, following where you go, I keep meeting more people. That's opening more and more opportunities. So it's very expansive, a lot of opportunities for abundance coming in. And so I want to make sure I have the self-care routine down for myself so that I can sustain the business and expand into these new areas. As I mentioned, we're going to be launching a marketing agency that supports all wellness businesses, as well as a membership community to teach folks on how to be marketers and also provide these networking opportunities in person and virtually here in San Diego to help people grow their network. And then the hope is to expand this beyond San Diego and do it in other cities as well. So lots going on.
Wonderful. So tell everybody how they can reach you and how they can find out what to do if they're coming to San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned before, locallywell.com is our website. You can sign up for a newsletter there if you're coming to San Diego to get the latest tips before you arrive, as well as following us on Instagram at locallywell.
Amazing. All right, you guys. So around the world, if you're planning on coming to see us in October, the Cogno Conscious event is happening then. Really, we are, at that event, it creates limitless people. When you can find what limits you, and for us, it's that spot in your nervous system that either holds you back or drives you forward. And it's either resourceful or unresourceful. When you can find that limitation and eliminate it, you start to become limitless. So this event in San Diego, it's the Super Bowl for Cogno movement. It's the big one. And it's that 4-day event that changes who you are structurally, because you leave as a person with a different nervous system, different drivers. It's like going and taking your computer that's glitched out and having it completely refurbished. That's what this event is like. So now, no matter where you're coming from in the world, Marta's website will be linked with ours. And you can come out and not only have that transformation, but experience all the things in San Diego that can support you in that transformation. So we recommend coming to San Diego for the 4-day event, but coming a few days before, experiencing the beautiful food, experiencing the ocean, experiencing the crystal shops, and then staying a few days after the event as well, just to see all the amazing things that are here, but also to let what happens at the event integrate is a great idea before you get back on the plane. So I want to encourage everybody, if you're coming to San Diego just to go to SeaWorld, because there's SeaWorld, there's Legoland, to also come and experience all the things that Marta has put together that will create a beautiful, personalized, customized, transformative experience for you. It's all there. So locallywell.com. Yes.
Yes.
I love it. All right, everybody in UK Health Radio land, we have run up against the end of our time. Thank you for being here with us, Marta.
Oh, it's been a joy. My pleasure.
We really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Until next week, we'll be back with another amazing conversation. Be safe and be well. Big love to everyone. And Marta and Bill and I hope to see you in San Diego very soon.
Thanks for being here with us on the New Life Perspective radio show. For more information or to find out more about the work that Bill and I do, please visit us at cognomovement.com or email us at info@cognomovement.com. See you again soon.